Right, good morning. Welcome to Saturday morning meditation. So the first thing that we do whenever we sit down to meditate is establish our motivation. So we always begin by generating compassion for all sentient beings and making the wish that our meditation practice will benefit them. So let's take a moment to do that now. And we'll give rise to bodhicitta, the compassionate wish to free all sentient beings from suffering. And then we'll say the opening prayers. We're going to say the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche 3 times. Morgan Yogi Num Jansam Pemage Sardombola Yatsen Chogi Ngorupe Pemajung Ne Jesura Ordu Kondro Mangpo Kor Ketki Jesu Dak Druki Jinji Lop Cheer Shek Suso Guru Pema City Home Organ Yogi Num Jansam Pemage Sardombola Yatsen Chogi Ngodrupne Pemajung Ne Jesura Kordu Kondro Mangpo Kor Ketki Jesu Dak Druki Jinji Lop Cheer Shek Suso Guru Pema City Home Organ Yogi Num Jansam Pemage Sardombola Yatsen Chogi Ngodrupne Pemajung Ne Jesurak Kordu Kondro Mangpo Kor Ketki Jesu Dak Druki Jinji Lop Cheer Shek Suso Guru Pema City Home. Right. So in this class, we will be trying 3 different types of meditation to stabilize our minds and open our hearts. And the first meditation that we'll be doing today is called Shamatha, or calm abiding meditation. But first, what is meditation? Meditation is the natural state of mind when it's relaxed, stable, and open. And when our mind is calm and settled, we have this spaciousness that gives us some time between whatever's happening in our lives and our reaction to it. But the trouble is that we rarely experience that spaciousness because our minds are rarely calm and settled. They're usually really stirred up and agitated and running wild, out of control. And when our mind is too agitated, wound up, and out of control, the mind controls us rather than the other way around. So often our experience is kind of like the TV is on and flipping channels, and we don't know where the remote is. And so through meditation, we can find that remote. But through meditation, we can train the mind like a muscle, like when we go to the gym and we can train our body to be strong and flexible. We can do the same thing with our mind. And the point of this meditation that we're going to do first, the Shamatha meditation, is to create space in your mind. And this space helps us to balance our emotions. It allows us that time between action and reaction. So when something happens, we don't feel the force of our habit so strongly carrying us into a reactive state. We instead have a little bit of space to maybe actually see what's going on. I feel like so often we don't even know what's going on because we're not in the present moment. We're just caught up in our reactions. We might not even, how many times does it happen in like a conversation with someone? You react to something they're not even saying, and it's like you're just so caught up in the force of your habitual reaction, you're not even hearing what they're saying. And so when we have this spaciousness to be present, we can more accurately understand what circumstances we actually are in, and what's actually occurring, and see it in a real way without our projections on it. And then we can also respond in a way that is aligned with our values, rather than just reacting in a way that's aligned with our past habits. Um, and this spaciousness is the first step in the development of bodhicitta, which is the compassionate wish to free all sentient beings from suffering. So when we're all caught up in our reactivity, our sphere of focus is really small. We just think about ourselves, and we're constantly just reacting out of self-concern and what we think will make us happy. And because we don't realize that our happiness is interwoven and interconnected and inseparable from the happiness of all beings. So, out of ignorance, we are constantly trying to pursue our very small idea of happiness. But if we get this spaciousness, if we have this spaciousness in our mind, we have the space then to expand that focus and go, oh, wow, there's others here. There's other beings here. They also want to be happy. Let me include them too. And we have that spaciousness to open our heart and make different choices. So this is a very simple practice. All we do is rest our attention on our breath. And you can also do this meditation with your focus on a flower or an image of the Buddha or any object really instead of your breath. You can also do it that way. You can also do this meditation with sound and other senses. There's many ways to do shamatha meditation. But regardless of the object, what we're doing though is we're having single pointed concentration on whatever the object is. In this case, our breath. So take a comfortable seat, either in a chair or cross-legged on the floor. You're going to place your hands in your lap, gently relaxed. Traditionally, we hold one hand in the other with the thumbs touching, and place your hands so the thumbs are just below the navel. And check in with your posture. Make sure your spine is straight. If it helps, you can imagine a thread going up your spine and out the crown of your head, and just tug on that thread to pull your spine nice and tall. And your shoulders are back. Your elbows are out a little bit away from your body, so your rib cage is open. You have room to breathe. And in this tradition, we meditate with our eyes open. So you can just look downwards, imagining, you can imagine a line following the bridge of your nose and extending down to the floor. And just find a place along that line where it's comfortable to rest your gaze. And then place the tip of your tongue right behind your front teeth. It's like saying the letter L. Allow yourself to relax completely and breathe normally. Just settle into your natural rhythm of breathing. And then put a very light attention on your breath. Don't try to control it at all. Just breathe naturally with the most gossamer thin attention on your breath. It's like taking your pulse. You don't put any pressure on it, just observe it. Your attention is like a feather gently riding on the surface of your breath. as you meditate, thoughts will come up, and that's okay. It's normal. When thoughts come up, just let them go like bubbles popping on the surface of a pond. Don't even look to see what they are. Just let them pop. Your meditation is not lost by hearing your thoughts, but by following them down the road. So as soon as you notice yourself following a thought, just drop it and return to the breath. Drop it, return to the breath. Your attention is like a feather, gently riding on the surface of your breath. It's just a first round. So this is a very simple practice, but our habits make it hard. So you can notice, you see when you try to meditate, you see the force of your habit, the habit of your thought patterns carrying you off, trying to do what it normally does, which is just think about whatever and be distracted. When we feel that the force of our habit, that wave trying to carry us along, when we go with that habit and we make the same choice we always do, we strengthen that habit. And when we go against that wave, when we don't follow through, when we don't do that action that we normally do, in this case, following the thought, when we don't do it, we weaken that habit. So over time, so sometimes, we have these habits that are so strong because we've done the same thing again and again and again. We've chased the thought, we've chased the thought, we've chased the thought. We've done that so many times, it's a very strong habit. But over time, as we feel that urge and we don't listen to it and we don't chase the thought, we don't, engage in that same behavior, over time, that habit gets weaker and weaker, and it becomes easier to meditate. But don't feel discouraged if you find yourself chasing your thoughts and find it difficult. It's just the force of your habit. And it will change. So let's try that again for a little longer. And if it's really difficult for you to dismiss your thoughts, you can imagine cutting them with scissors and throwing them away, or using tongs to pick up the thought and drop it, or tap it with a magic wand and make it poof away or something. If a visualization like that is helpful, you can do that and then return to your breath. Drop the thought, return to your breath. All right, so let's meditate for a little longer. Our attention is on our breath. Your attention is like a feather, gently riding on the surface of your breath. All right. So now that our minds are calm and settled, we are going to develop our compassion. So the next meditation that we'll be doing is called the practice of Tonglen, or sending and receiving. This practice is done to develop our compassion, and just like how this Shamatha meditation helps us just be present in the present moment, Tonglen helps us be present with suffering, helps us be present with our own suffering and with the suffering of others. It's difficult to help people if we're in constant denial of their suffering, or, not able to just, again, like, see what's happening, be there with them, really be present with the suffering. So we have to have courage to do that. And loving kindness. So this practice trains us to use the energy of loving kindness to open our hearts, and to open our hearts to suffering, and to transform that suffering into well-being. So in this practice, we imagine taking the suffering of others into ourselves and sending them our happiness. So sitting in meditation posture, we're going to begin by envisioning one or two beings for whom you easily feel compassion. Someone who's suffering particularly touches you. This could be your parents, or a sibling, or your child. It could be a friend of yours, or a coworker, your dog or cat. It could be someone you've seen on the news. But anyone for whom you easily feel compassion. Think of who this person is and contemplate their misery. Put yourself in their shoes and imagine what their experience must be like, and give rise to compassion for them. As you think of their experience, cultivate in your heart the fervent wish to relieve their suffering and secure their happiness. And then bring your attention to your breath. We're going to follow the natural rhythm of our breath. And as you breathe in, visualize that as you inhale through your nose, you take in all the causes and conditions of their suffering in the form of black smoke, and they become completely free of misery. And then as you breathe out, visualize that you are sending and they are receiving all of your positive and loving qualities and all conceivable sources of enduring happiness as a radiant, pure light, bringing them limitless joy. You might think as you breathe in, may you be free of suffering. And as you breathe out, May you be happy. May you be free of suffering. May you be happy. So we'll do that for a few minutes. Okay. And now we're going to repeat this visualization again, but this time, think of someone for whom you feel intense anger or aversion. Someone for whom you feel intense anger or aversion. This could be someone that's wronged you, someone who just drives you nuts. Could be someone that you know personally or someone on the news. Think of someone for whom you feel intense anger and aversion. And again, put yourself in their shoes and consider their experience. And give rise to compassion. All beings, just like us, wish to be happy. And all beings, just like us, are deluded by ignorance and don't know how to be happy. And they make really stupid choices. And we harm each other. And we act in ways that are not aligned with our values. And we cause a lot of trouble for ourselves and others. Everyone that we feel anger and aversion towards are suffering in that same way. They want to be happy and they don't know how, just like us. So think of this person and put yourself in their shoes and consider their suffering and what their experience is. and give rise to compassion. And then bring your attention to your breath and following the natural rhythm of your breath. As you breathe in, visualize that as you inhale through your nose, you take in all of the causes and conditions of this person's suffering in the form of black smoke, and they become completely free of misery. And as you breathe out, visualize that you are sending and they are receiving all of your positive and loving qualities, all conceivable sources of enduring happiness as radiant, pure light, bringing them limitless joy. So, breathing in their suffering as black smoke, we think, may you be free of suffering. And breathing out all positive and loving qualities, enduring happiness as pure light, we think, may you be happy. So, we'll do that for a few minutes. Okay, and now expand your visualization to include all those for whom you have similar feelings of anger and aversion. And we're going to keep doing the same thing. Breathing in, their suffering as smoke. Breathing out, we send them radiant, pure light, bringing them limitless joy. And as your meditation deepens and your heart opens, you get used to doing this practice, you can gradually increase the scope of your visualization to include larger and larger groups of people, until your loving kindness and compassion embrace all sentient beings throughout existence. With any of these meditations, with the Shamatha meditation or with this Tonglen meditation, if when you're doing this on your own, you can meditate for as long as you want. You can do this really briefly. You can just take a few moments to do some Shamatha meditation and calm your mind, just like 3 breaths if you want. You could meditate for half an hour or 3 hours if you're up for it. The Tonglen, you can do this just for a couple minutes, or you could spend the morning doing Tonglen if you have time. It's a great practice to do. Tonglen is a great practice to do when you have someone who at the present moment is making you angry. It's really great to just do this practice and with that person, not just do the practice of I'm sitting down and do Tonglen and I'll think of someone, but also recognizing in your life when you're angry at someone, go, oh, I have a tool for this. I can do some Tonglen and I can try to work through my feelings of self-righteousness and self-cherishing, putting myself above them. Like I can work through that and I can develop compassion for us both. So, all right, this last meditation that we're going to do is a guided meditation, and it's called the Light Expansion Prayer by Jetsunma. And this meditation, Jetsunma has taught that any trauma or pain that we have experienced comes from the illusion of separation, that we believe that we are separate. And so this meditation works through that. So sitting in meditation posture. Let us become still. Take a deep breath and let it out slowly. Again. Let us center deep within. center deep within. Deep within to the presence of the Absolute. And there is radiance. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace the physical body. And all of the physical body is filled with the presence of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to fill our beings on all dimensions. And all that we are is filled with the radiance of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and ends to fill everyone here. And everyone here on all dimensions is filled with the presence of the Absolute. The presence, the presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace this building. And all of this building is filled with the light of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace this nation. And the government of this nation is filled with the radiance of the Absolute. And the people of this nation are one life. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace planet Earth. All nations and all governments are filled with the presence of the Absolute, and there is peace. And the 8 billion are one life, radiant. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to fill this galaxy. All planets, all stars, and all life forms are within the embrace of the Absolute. The presence of the Absolute increases and expands to embrace the universe. All dimensions and all kingdoms are filled with the presence of the Absolute. And in all the universe, there is only one life. Now, as we return our consciousness back to physical form, we continue to embrace all that is and to know union, that we are one. Okay, and then at the end of our practice, we end with dedication prayers. So we'll say those now. Throughout my many lives and until this moment, whatever virtue I have accomplished, including the merit generated by this practice and all that I will ever attain, this I offer for the welfare of sentient beings. May sickness, war, famine, and suffering be decreased for every being, while their wisdom and compassion increase in this and every future life. May I clearly perceive all experiences to be as insubstantial as the dream fabric of the night, and instantly awaken to perceive the pure wisdom display in the arising of every phenomenon. May I quickly attain enlightenment in order to work ceaselessly for the liberation of all sentient beings. Buddhas and Bodhisattvas altogether, whatever kind of motivation you have, whatever kind of beneficial action, whatever kind of wishing prayers, whatever kind of omniscience, whatever kind of life accomplishment, whatever kind of benevolent power, and whatever kind of immense wisdom you have, similarly I, who have come in the same way to benefit beings, pray to attain these qualities. By this effort, may all sentient beings be free of suffering. May their minds be filled with the nectar of virtue. In this way, may all causes resulting in suffering be extinguished, and only the light of compassion shine throughout all realms. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks.